Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We are learning Mishna Pesachim, Parak Aleph, Mishnah Beis, Chapter 1, Mishnah 2. Ein chayshishin. We are not concerned. Shemagarer chulda, perhaps a chulda. Now a chulda is translated either as a weasel, some translated as a mole or a rat. We'll stick with weasel.
Yeah.
Okay. So Shemagarer chulda, perhaps a chulda, a weasel, dragged chametz, mibayis labayis, from house to house, or mimakam lamakam, from place to place. Meaning, perhaps there you are, the night of Pesach, you're searching through your house. Now, let's remember how, I think it's very, very relevant. Let's remember how the times of the Mishnah, they didn't do a major cleaning before the night of the search for chametz. You searched and you cleaned.
Found what you got.
That's what you did. So there's going to be parts of you. So there's going to be a point. There are going to be times where you've checked one room, you checked it, no chametz. Okay. Now, after you leave that room, a little critter comes and drags some chametz from a different room into the room that you just checked. Is that a concern? Now, this can be a concern. The way the Mishnah says, no, ein chayshishin. We are not concerned about that. Mm-hmm. That maybe the weasel dragged from house to house or from place to place. The place to place means from place to place in the same house. From house to house can mean you have more than one house, right? You have more than one house in this courtyard, let's say, and maybe you checked one house, but you didn't check the other house. And then, while you're without looking, the weasel takes from one house and brings to the other house. Okay. Do you have to be concerned about that? So the Mishnah says, no, you don't have to be concerned about that. The imkain, because if you would have to be concerned, then mechatzer lachatzer umeir leir. You should therefore then be concerned from courtyard to courtyard, meaning from one person's house to another person's house, meaning you checked your house, your neighbor didn't, right? Maybe you should now be, if we're concerned about weasels dragging things, maybe we should be concerned that the weasel is going to drag from your friend's house who didn't search yet into your house that you did search. Or meir leir, from town to town. Weasels go from town to town. Maybe they're going to drag chametz from one town to the other town. Ein l'davar safe. And there's no end to it. So therefore, to go ahead and say that within your house or within your houses, you should be concerned about this weasel is going to be, if you say you got to be concerned about that, then you should have to say, I should be concerned even in further cases. And then there's no end. And therefore, the point is you don't have to be concerned. Now, if you would have to be concerned, let's say you would have to be concerned, like what would be your options? What would be your options? You're worried about this weasel dragging things from house to house. So what do you do? So there's a couple of options. One option is, again, you can imagine how bothersome this would be that, you checked one room. Now you go to the next room. Maybe a weasel went to that room, go back and check it a second time. You'd have to constantly be rechecking your rooms until you basically come to the point that, you've checked it all. Unless you're going to say how it's apparently we're not going to be concerned, at least the way some of the commentaries say that, you'll do it a second time, you'll do it a third time. Theoretically, you would do it. If anything, if we make you do anything, we make you do it one time over again. Or perhaps after you check a room, you put up a guard and you say, stand here and don't let any weasels in. Or you'd have to somehow or another simultaneously check all the rooms at one time. Yeah. You'd have to have more than one person doing that. These would be possible options to take care of this issue. But again, if you're going to have to do all these things, it's not just going to be within your own house. You're going to have to worry about if your neighbor didn't do Padika yet. You're going to have to worry about if the next town over didn't do Padika yet. And therefore, the Mishnah says, Ein l'davar safe, there'd be no end. And therefore, we don't have to be concerned about this. You check the room is chametz free. We don't got to worry about, weasels or any kind of other animal like a ferret or anything else, or a mole or a rat, going ahead and dragging things into the room you checked. Now, if after you checked, you saw a little creature with something in its mouth come into your house, you are going to have to recheck your house. That's not a question. The point is, I don't have to be concerned, maybe. But if you know that this animal came in after you checked, right, you're going to have to go ahead and check over again. Have a wonderful day and a good night.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Yeah. So 1 year